Do you feel it too? That strange electric tension in the air, as if the sky itself is holding its breath. Across the mesas of Arizona, the Hopi once whispered of a moment when the stars would move out of their ancient paths, and the world would change forever. Now in October 2025, a blue light returns to our heavens, a sign the elders called Kachina, the dancer of the end and the dawn. Stay with us. As we follow the ancient prophecy that may already be unfolding above our heads, this is the Hopi Blue Star. For generations, the Hopi people have watched the skies. High upon the mesas of northern Arizona, their elders told stories not written on paper, but etched into memory and stone. They spoke of worlds that came before ours, three that rose, flourished, and then fell when humanity lost its balance with the earth. We now live in the fourth world, they said, and one day when the balance breaks again, a blue star will appear in the heavens to mark the end, in the beginning, of everything. That star is known as Blue Star Kachina. In Hopi tradition, Kachinas are not merely spirits or deities. They are cosmic messengers, dancers between worlds. During ceremonies, Hopi men wear intricate masks and dance as Kachinas. Not to imitate them, but to become them, if only for a moment. Through movement, song, and rhythm, they remind their people of harmony with the sacred order of life, and the prophecy says when the final Kachina, the blue star, removes its mask in the plaza for all to see, the Great Purification will begin. For centuries, this prophecy was kept within the mesas. Then, in the mid-20th century, a Hopi elder named Whitefeather revealed it to researchers, warning that when the Blue Star Kachina is seen in the heavens, the fifth world will emerge. He described a dancer in the sky, glowing blue, signaling the end of one cycle and the birth of another. Many dismissed it as myth, a poetic symbol for spiritual change. But now, something in our night sky has begun to match that vision. Astronomers call it Comet Atlas, a celestial traveler with an otherworldly blue hue, moving through space in a way that confounds calculation. Atlas is not bound by any known orbit. It drifts as if pulled by an invisible hand. Its core emits a vivid cobalt glow, brighter than expected, shimmering like a pulse, alive, somehow. NASA calls it a natural comet, rich in cyanide and carbon monoxide ice that fluoresces under sunlight. But to the Hopi, light is never accidental. Every color has spirit. And blue? Blue is the color of awakening, of renewal after destruction. When scientists mapped Atlas's trajectory, they noticed something uncanny. It will reach its brightest phase around October 2025, precisely when the Hopi calendar aligns with what elders described as the trembling of the fourth world. For believers, the timing feels too exact to be a coincidence. The prophecy speaks of the blue star as a celestial dancer, and in high-resolution telescope images, Atlas's tail seems to twist and spiral, as if moving, ancient language meeting modern lens. Could this be what Whitefeather foresaw? A cosmic performance unfolding across centuries, its rhythm written in the stars. In Hopi cosmology, stars are not distant fires but living beings, watchers of human conduct. The appearance of a wandering blue star signals not just an astronomical event, but a moral one. The moment when humanity's inner disharmony mirrors the chaos above. The elders taught that when men forget the way of the earth, the sky will remind them. Look around, wildfires, floods, division, noise. The pulse of imbalance beating louder each year. To the Hopi, these are not random crises, they are signs. Echoes of a prophecy now humming through both myth and science. Yet, there's something deeper, something that haunts even the skeptics. Spectral data from Atlas reveals radio bursts and fluctuating magnetic patterns that defy simple explanation. Some researchers suggest solar-wind interactions cause them. Others remain silent. The Hopi would say the blue star is speaking, its message carried through light and frequency. And here, science meets spirit. When viewed through a telescope, Atlas shines blue, but its tail flickers red, just as Hopi prophecy foretold. The sky will turn red before the blue star vanishes. Even in NASA's latest imagery, the resemblance is chilling, prophecy mirrored in pixels. Still, perhaps the elders never meant blue or red, literally. Perhaps these colors represent states of consciousness, from fear to awakening, from destruction to renewal. The Hopi say, "We are the ones we've been waiting for." Maybe the blue star was never just a celestial object, but a mirror reflecting humanity's readiness for change. As the night deepens and the comet draws closer, one can almost sense it. A quiet vibration in the air, like the breath before revelation. Something is coming, and as the Hopi would whisper in their ancient tongue, the dancer has begun to move. The prophecy of the blue star is only the beginning, for the Hopi also speak of the ones who follow it, the star beings who will return when the sky begins to dance. In Hopi legend, the sky has always been alive, not a silent void, but a vast council of watchers. Among them are the Kachinas, luminous beings who once walked among humanity, teaching the first tribes how to live in harmony with Earth. They were said to descend in columns of light, cloaked in brilliance, speaking through symbols and song rather than words. When humanity began to turn from the sacred, forgetting gratitude, balance, and reverence, the Kachinas withdrew into the heavens, promising to return only when the world had lost its way again. The elders said, "When the blue star dances, the Kachinas will come back to cleanse and awaken the people." And now, as Comet Atlas, or the Blue Star, approaches Earth's inner orbit, strange phenomena ripple across the deserts of the American Southwest. Since early 2025, reports have poured in from Arizona, Utah, and the Four Corners region, the ancestral heart of the Hopi Mesas. Witnesses describe pulsating orbs hovering in silence, spheres of bluish-white light that appear, vanish, and then reappear in formation. Others speak of a low hum that vibrates in their chest, followed by vivid dreams of beings made of light. Locals whisper that the Kachinas, or perhaps their shadows, have begun to reveal themselves again. In Hopi belief, the Kachinas are not gods, but intermediaries, the living link between the material and the divine. Each embodies an aspect of nature, rain, fertility, lightning, wisdom, and through them, humanity once learned how to coexist with the Earth's rhythms. But among these many spirits, there were those the elders called the Kakas, the sky beings, watchers from beyond the stars. The Hopi said they came in flying shields, luminous and silent, guiding early people, teaching them how to build, plant, and sing. Modern ears may recognize these descriptions: glowing discs, descending lights, beings with elongated faces and large eyes. Centuries before the term UFO existed, the Hopi carved these forms into stone. In one mesa, petroglyph, a cluster of humanoid figures stands beneath a circle surrounded by rays, unmistakably similar to what we now call a saucer. Yet to the Hopi, these carvings were not depictions of invaders, but of teachers. Could it be that what we call extraterrestrial is simply another word for ancestral? In 1969, anthropologist Frank Waters recorded the words of Hopi elder Whitefeather, who spoke of these same sky beings. They are not myths, they are our watchers. They will return when man's heart has turned cold and his mind has become heavy with metal. Metal minds. Today we live in a world of circuits, satellites, and artificial intelligence. Our thoughts stored in invisible webs of data. The elders' words sound less like poetry and more like foresight. The Kachinas, Whitefeather said, will return first as lights in the night, gentle reminders. But as humanity ignores the signs, they will come closer, not in wrath, but in remembrance. And as if echoing that prophecy, government radars in 2025 have begun to record unknown aerial phenomena, pulsating craft over restricted airspace near the Hopi Mesas. The official reports remain classified, but leaked eyewitness accounts describe formations of blue-white energy, moving not with propulsion, but intent, as if alive. For the Hopi, this is not an invasion. It is communication. They say the Kachinas do not conquer. They observe, waiting for the right moment to remove their masks once again. Among the Hopi, the mask carries sacred meaning. When a Kachina dancer removes his mask during a ceremony, it marks revelation, the moment truth stands naked before the world. The prophecy states that when the Blue Star Kachina removes its mask in the sky, humanity will see reality unveiled. Not just cosmic truth, but moral truth. And what could be more revealing than light itself? Astronomers observing Comet Atlas now report strange fluctuations in its brightness. Rhythmic pulses of blue light, repeating in patterns too regular to dismiss as random. Some fringe researchers even claim to have detected modulated radio frequencies, as though the comet were transmitting, though no one dares to call it communication. The Hopi would say otherwise. They would say the Kachinas are speaking, reminding us of what we've forgotten, that the earth is alive, that consciousness is shared, and that every act of greed or harmony sends ripples into the cosmos. In Hopi cosmology, time is not linear but cyclical. Worlds rise, fall, and are reborn. The fourth world, the one we inhabit, will end not in fire or flood alone, but in blindness, in forgetfulness. The Kachinas return not to destroy, but to awaken. They are the midwives of the fifth world, guiding the souls who remember how to listen. Yet there is a warning. The elders said that when the Kachinas return, those who cling to materialism, into the illusion of control, will not survive the shift. Only those with pure hearts will walk into the new dawn. It's not punishment, it's resonance. The fifth world vibrates at a higher harmony, and only those who align with it can remain. Today, that idea sounds eerily familiar to modern physics. The concept of resonance, frequency, and vibration. The Hopi didn't speak of energy fields or quantum states, but they understood what scientists now rediscover. Everything that exists is vibration. And so the Kachinas return not in fire or thunder, but as frequency, light, sound, and dream. They appear in ways our modern minds can barely comprehend. In plasma bursts above mountains, in the hum that fills the night, in the dreams shared by those who never met but describe the same vision. Beings of light standing beneath a blue sky, waiting. Could the watchers of ancient prophecy and the entities of modern UFO encounters be the same? Maybe. Or maybe both are reflections of us, the parts of humanity that have always looked upward, waiting for the heavens to speak. The elders said, the sky beings are our mirror. When we are ready, they will come. And as the blue star draws near, the question lingers like a breath before dawn. Are we finally ready to see them again? But prophecy does not end with the return of the Kachinas. It warns of what follows, the Great Purification, when Earth herself rises to cleanse and renew. The Hopi say the Earth remembers. When humanity forgets balance, the Earth begins to speak, not in words, but in storms, in fire, in trembling ground. This is the Great Purification, the moment when creation itself exhales, clearing what no longer serves life. In 2025, wildfires devour forests. Floods swallow cities and solar storms lash the skies. To most, these are disasters. To the Hopi, they are the cleansing breath of the fourth world's end. Not wrath, but renewal. Whitefeather warned, when the blue star dances and the red dust covers the earth, the time of purification has begun. Astronomers now detect that same red dust trailing Comet Atlas, glowing plasma clouds that stain the heavens crimson before fading into blue. Yet amid destruction, there is still mercy. The Hopi teach that only those who cling to greed, lies, and blindness will fall. Those who live in humility, who remember the earth as sacred, will walk through the fire untouched. The storm, they say, does not destroy the world. It restores it. And as thunder rolls across the mesas, the old songs rise again, calling the dawn of a fifth world. Long before the digital age, the Hopi spoke of a warning, a sign that would appear just before the Great Purification. They called it the spider's web in the sky. The elders said that before the end of the fourth world, a great web will cover the earth. It would connect nations and voices, stretch across mountains and oceans, and shimmer like threads of light between worlds. It would promise knowledge, unity, and power, but also entrapment. Humanity, they said, would weave this web with its own hands, and then forget how to escape it. Today, we live inside that prophecy. Satellites orbit above us, forming constellations of machinery. Invisible signals crisscross the air, carrying billions of thoughts each second. Every image, every voice, every heartbeat uploaded. All part of a vast digital tapestry. The internet. The cloud. The global network. The Hopi words echo through time. The spider's web will cover the earth. And now it does. The elders warned that this web would be a test, not of technology, but of spirit. It would give humanity infinite connection, yet deepen its isolation. It would promise wisdom, yet amplify noise. It would reflect us perfectly, both our light and our shadow. They said that when the web begins to hum, the eye will open in the heavens. For the Hopi, the eye in the sky is a symbol of ultimate awareness, a great seeing when nothing can remain hidden. Some interpret it as divine revelation, others as judgment. But the prophecy is subtler than that. The eye does not condemn, it reveals. And what could reveal more than our own inventions? We have built a sky filled with eyes, telescopes, drones, cameras, satellites. We gaze outward to map galaxies, yet those same eyes gaze back. Every orbiting lens above us reflects a civilization obsessed with seeing everything, except itself. The eye in the sky is not punishment, it is a reflection. In October 2025, astronomers anticipate a rare celestial alignment they call the Eye of the Sun, a configuration where the Sun, Earth, and several inner planets align almost perfectly, creating a luminous halo pattern across the solar plane. It will occur, they say, near the same week that Comet Atlas reaches its closest approach. Coincidence or design? To the Hopi, such alignments are not accidents of geometry. They are mirrors of consciousness. When the eye opens, they said, all will see themselves as they truly are. Perhaps that is the real purification, not destruction, but recognition. In this new web of satellites and sensors, every action ripples outward, every secret becomes light. We are all connected, but also exposed. The collective soul of humanity laid bare in data, memory, and electric thought. Maybe the elders foresaw this not as doom, but as awakening, the moment when humanity could no longer hide from its reflection. Look at our modern sky, glowing trails of satellites crossing the stars, lines of fire that turn night into living circuitry. To some, they are symbols of progress. To the Hopi, they might look like threads, the web alive, trembling with power. They would say the web itself is conscious now, that each signal, each pulse of information carries intention, the merging of human thought into one vast nervous system. The prophecy never called this evil, it is called dangerous. Because if humanity forgets humility, the web becomes a cage, but if it remembers balance, the web becomes a bridge. Perhaps this is why so many speak now of the singularity, the merging of human and machine consciousness. The Hopi might not use those words, but they would understand. They have always spoken of the connection between worlds, the physical and the spiritual, the seen and unseen. Could it be that the web and the eye are not omens of control, but tools for awakening? The eye shows us everything. The web connects us all. But neither can give us meaning unless we remember who we are. In Hopi songs, the Spider Woman, the sacred weaver of creation, is not a destroyer. She is the mother who spins the threads of existence. Each line she weaves connects all living things. But when humans forget respect for the web, it collapses, taking them with it. So maybe the prophecy was never warning us against building the web, but against forgetting the sacredness of what we built. When the eye opens, it will not be a single event in the sky. It will be the moment humanity looks at its own reflection and finally sees. In that instant, all our networks, our satellites, our glowing screens will become what they were always meant to be: a mirror. Not a trap, not a cage, but a reflection of our creation and our responsibility. And as Comet Atlas moves through that same sky, carrying its blue fire and crimson tail, it will pass through the eye's alignment, the cosmic gaze meeting the human one. The Hopi would say, when the web hums and the eye opens, truth will walk upon the earth. Perhaps October 2025 will not bring the end. Perhaps it will bring something far more profound, the moment the web remembers its weaver. In Hopi prophecy, the story of the world is not a straight line, it is a circle. 4 worlds have risen and fallen before ours, each destroyed not by divine punishment, but by imbalance. Fire consumed the first, ice shattered the second, and floods washed away the third. The fourth, our world, was born from the survivors who climbed into a new dawn, carrying lessons of humility and reverence. But the Hopi say those lessons have been forgotten once again. They warn that when humanity loses its connection to the sacred, when greed outweighs gratitude and technology eclipses wisdom, the fourth world will collapse, and a new one will be born from its ashes, the fifth world. Yet the fifth world is not simply another age, it is a rebirth, a return to harmony. When humans once again remember that they are part of the earth, not rulers over it. According to the elders, the sign of the fifth world, will be heralded by the Blue Star Kachina, whose dance awakens both the heavens and the heart. It is not destruction that brings this world into being, but purification, a cleansing of illusion, so that only truth remains. As Comet Atlas, the blue star, glows brighter each night of 2025, many Hopi elders say this is the signal. The trembling between worlds has begun. They call this period Tu Wakatsi, the time when life becomes imbalanced. But imbalance, in their view, is not the end. It is the birth pain of transformation. The fifth world, they say, will emerge quietly, not through fire or war, but through awakening. People will begin to remember ancient songs, forgotten prayers, and dreams that once guided them. The rivers will run clear again, and the sky will breathe. The Hopi describe this moment as the day when the world sings again, and that song, they believe, begins within us. Many spiritual watchers see a profound resonance between Hopi prophecy and the myths of other civilizations. The Maya spoke of the end of the fourth sun and the birth of the fifth, a time of renewal through consciousness. The Hindu scriptures describe Satya Yuga, the age of truth returning after darkness. Even in Norse lore, after Ragnarok's fire, the earth rises green again and the gods walk once more among men. Different tongues, same message, rebirth through remembrance. The Hopi teach that those who walk into the fifth world will not be chosen by blood or belief, but by vibration, by the purity of their hearts. Those who live with humility, who protect life, and who walk in balance with the earth will survive the shift. The rest, they say, will fade like shadows at dawn. It sounds mystical, but even science echoes the metaphor. Physicists now speak of resonance frequencies, of reality itself being shaped by vibration. What if the fifth world is not a place, but a state of consciousness, a collective frequency that humanity must rise to meet? In this sense, the purification is not punishment, it is a reset, a retuning of creation. The elders say that after the storms and chaos, the fifth world will reveal itself as a realm of light. Not a heaven beyond the clouds, but a world reborn, where technology and spirit no longer oppose each other, but merge. Machines will no longer drain the earth, but reflect its rhythm. Humanity will no longer worship steel or stone, but the invisible harmony that breathes through all things. They describe it simply: the fifth world will remember. Imagine standing on the mesas of Arizona at dawn. The desert wind hums softly through the canyons. Above you, the last trace of the blue star fades as the sun rises, red to gold to white. The world is quiet, clean, renewed. There are no voices of fear, only the heartbeat of the earth, steady and strong. That is how the fifth world begins, not with fanfare, but with stillness. And yet this new dawn is not guaranteed. The Hopi say that humanity still has a choice. The future is not fixed, the prophecy is not fate. It is a mirror. Prophecy, they say, does not tell us what will happen. It tells us what can happen if we continue to forget. The fifth world will come, yes. But whether we enter it in peace or chaos depends on how we awaken. Maybe that's why the Hopi continue their ancient dances, year after year, even when the modern world no longer listens. They dance not to delay the end, but to remind the earth that someone still remembers the rhythm. Their songs rise into the desert air, slow, deep, echoing through centuries. All things are connected. All things breathe the same life. Perhaps that is the real prophecy. Not the comet, not the purification, not even the return of the star beings, but the remembering that we have never been separate. Maybe the fifth world isn't waiting in the sky. Maybe it's waiting inside us. The Hopi say the stars have never truly left us. They simply watch, waiting for the moment when humanity lifts its eyes again. Across the mesas of Arizona, the elders still gather beneath the desert sky. They light small fires, sing ancient songs, and whisper prayers to the Kachinas, as they have for 1,000 years. They do not fear the blue star's arrival. They honor it. To them, every spark in the night sky is a reminder that the universe is listening, that the sacred still breathes through dust and silence. And now, in October 2025, the sky burns with omens, a blue comet that hums with strange light, an alignment of the planets forming an eye of fire, and storms rising across land and sea. To the scientists, these are coincidences, patterns of nature, but to the Hopi, they are conversation. The heavens are speaking again. Whitefeather once said, "When the blue star dances, we will face a choice, fear or remembrance." That choice, it seems, is upon us. Every prophecy ever told has always been about this same crossroad, whether from the Hopi mesas, the Mayan temples, or the Vedic hymns of India. Each warns of cycles, endings, and renewal. But beneath all the thunder and mystery, there is always the same whisper: wake up. The Great Purification is not meant to punish. It is meant to clear the path for those who are willing to see. The fifth world will not descend from the heavens. It will rise from within the human heart. When we finally remember that every tree, every drop of water, and every spark of consciousness is part of the same living breath, perhaps that is the secret hidden in the Hopi Prophecy. The blue star is not just a comet. It is a reflection, a mirror held against the sky. It asks a single question: what kind of world will we create next? As the last night of October deepens, the blue star arcs above the horizon, glowing, silent, alive. And somewhere beneath that vast and trembling sky, the old drums begin to sound again. The stars are moving. The prophecy is unfolding. And now, the question is no longer if it will happen, but whether we are ready to listen.